Hello again and welcome to TorqueWagon. I've been doing some stuff on the Suburban today. Hopefully we're going to get some progress made. Okay, we're test fitting the bell housing today. You're going to be able to see that right in here is where it's going to have its issues, so we're going to have to do a little grinding to get it to fit over the starter, over the nose cone of the starter. So that's what I'll be doing next. Okay, got that all ground out. You might have seen me using an air grinder. I was using a drill with a carbide bit. Did most of the work with this guy right here, and as you can see, there's a lot of stacking in there from the aluminum. This is not the ideal thing to use. It's an aluminum oxide grinding wheel, and really you should use a silicon carbide grinding wheel if you're going to be grinding on aluminum to prevent all that stacking and to get the best grind. But that's done. We're going to put it on the transmission now and get some other things done. Alright, you should be able to see here that we're flush against the starter now with the bell housing. The grinding worked. I do have a 12-inch clutch on here. Advanced adapter says to use an 11-inch. 12-inch appears to work. If you've been watching already, you know I'm doing an NV4500 swap. Today, I'm going to put the bell housing on the transmission. I've already done some grinding. This is an Advanced Adapters bell housing for the NV4500, for the 93 to 95 NV4500, which I've got here. The bell housing cost much more than the transmission did, but we can get into that in a different episode. Today I'm going to put the bell housing on the transmission. I'm going to get the clutch fork put on with the throwout bearing. I have done the test fit on the bell housing and it looks like it's going to fit, so we'll see. We'll get this on there and maybe even get it on the transmission jack and see what happens. Stay tuned. Okay, now we're going to do the clutch fork and the throwout bearing. If you look closely, let me see if I can get this on here. The throwout bearing has ridges here, so there's a certain way it goes on the clutch fork. Alright, the clutch fork will only go on one way. Let's go ahead and get these installed. You see there's a pivot ball here. We're going to go ahead and get this guy on here. There we go. I've got some grease on here already. I wanted to talk briefly about this slave cylinder adapter for the hydraulic slave cylinder on the GM models here. This is also from Advanced Adapters. I've got it bolted up here. This kit came with two spacers here, two washers that it uses to space out the way the machining's done. The surface of this tab here is higher than the surface right here, so you've got to have these spacers in here if you want it to fit properly. We'll get to that later, but when those are on there, that fits properly. So as you can see, the transmission is under the Suburban, the NV4500. I probably should have gotten some video of me wrestling this thing underneath here with the transmission jack and jack stands and getting everything all tilted up just right and fitting it under the Nerf bars and everything. I didn't, I'm sorry. I'm really trying to rush on this thing, trying to get it in here because this Suburban hasn't had a transmission in almost a year and a half. So anyway, today we're putting the transmission in place. So since my Harbor Freight transmission jack has the most ill-suited wheels for blacktop that I've ever seen, it does not roll smoothly, so this is my setup. I've got to come along hooked to my push bar on the Suburban, also hooked to the jack. We'll see if that's disastrous or not. That's how I'm inching it forward a little bit at a time. To try get that lined up just right. I will say the fine adjustments on the jack work well for this too. So we're going to try and inch this forward a little bit. I'm running out of battery in both my cameras. I've been working on this all day, and I just got the transmission lined up and into place. I'm gonna put some bolts in, and then I'm gonna call it a day. I'll probably mount the slave cylinder bracket too. I'm not putting any Loctite on anything just yet. I'm gonna come back and do that later because I gotta clean up and tear it down because I need to be done for the day. So I'll let the camera run until the battery runs out, but I'm just gonna put bolts in. We're gonna call it a day. I'm gonna tighten these up, probably tighten the cross member up, and then do something else. There you have it. It's installed. NV4500 with the cross member. It's been a long day. I've been working on this since like 8 o'clock. It is now after 5 o'clock. I did eat lunch, I'll admit that. I'll let you know how I finally got it done. I will say it's difficult to do, to put a 200-pound transmission in by yourself under your car in the street. I did it. I used to come along. It worked. I also figured out once I finally got it in there that I almost had it this morning, and then I doubted myself and pulled it all back down. So if I would have just kept going a little bit, I would have had it done. Whoops. Okay. I'm gonna go spend some time with the family now. See you later.